So I did some research and I found a bird the size of a cat and that lives longer than the normal human. I got my book of notes here. I couldn't find as much notes about this specific animal as much as I did about the octopus because they're critically endangered and they're very rare and not many people are hanging out with them like they would with an octopus. But I found the Kakapo, or maybe that's pronounced wrong, I don't know, but Kakapo. It's also called the owl parrot. It's it's basically a giant green parrot that lives in the jungles of New Zealand. Like, it's the size of a small cat. So we'll just jump right into it then. The first fact I found, number one, is they can weigh up to 9 pounds. They usually weigh anywhere between 4 to 9 pounds. Usually, I found that is about like 8.5 pounds is usually how big they are, and the men are bigger than the females. Number two, it is the only flightless parrot, which means, and if you saw that picture that was up there, it has these super strong legs, and it has wings, it's a bird, it has wings, but like the dodo, it has small wings. They can't do much in the sense of flying for two reasons. One, they're too small, and one, the bird's too fat. But they do, what the wings do is they do parachute the birds down from the treetops, which, how are the birds in the treetops if they can't fly in the first place? Well, that's where it gets interesting. They're actually, number three would be they have extremely strong legs, and which would lead to them being incredible climbers, which is weird to think of a bird climbing a tree because usually they just fly around, but they'll actually, because they're flightless and big, they'll just kind of walk around on the jungle floor, but they're birds, so birds like nuts and fruits, and those are at the top of the trees. So what they have to do is they recognize that they're on the ground and the trees are way up there. They recognize that they're on the ground and the trees are way up there, so they need to figure out a way to get up there. So what they do is they use their feet as sort of like hands, kind of like a monkey would, and they'll wrap them around the tree because they're pretty big and pretty muscly, and they'll climb up and they'll use their beak as like a third hand kind of thing to climb all the way up the tree. It takes a while, but when they get up there, they get the food, and then they get down by using their wings. They just kind of like parachute down, because they can't fly with the wings, but they are still wings, so they would still help in the falling aspect of things. Number four, they never really developed a good defense mechanism because their main predator, back in the Stone Age or whatever, was like flying birds like eagles and predatory birds like that. So they're green and they live in the jungle, so all they really needed to do is just like freeze in place so the birds can't see them anymore. So that's still all they have, but that's an issue because once people moved to where they live in New Zealand, aside from habitat destruction, there was also new predators introduced, like all these like predatory mammals like cats, dogs, all this stuff that could just hunt down the bird, the kakapo, and just kill it because it can't really do anything because it's not like it can fly away, and all its defense mechanism is just to freeze solid to be like easier prey. But number five, they are nocturnal, which means they kind of just hang out and sleep during the day, and once night falls, they'll actually go around, and that's when they look for fruits and all their foods and stuff, which would make sense if you're trying to avoid like eagles and stuff who are generally hunting in the day. Number six, they're good smelling, and they're good smelling in two ways. They apparently smell very good. They smell they smell sweet. They have a sweet, musty odor, apparently. I've never met one, but that's what I found. They also smell very well, like a dog would. Not that well, but that the fact that they smell so sweet and so distinct is a way for them to find each other, which is also a way for their new predators, the dogs and the cats, to find them easier. Because there's not many things in the jungle that smell musty and fruity, aside from fruit, or a musty fruit. Number 7. they are actually extremely friendly because they're not used to these big, like, physical predators. They're used to like the hawks and the eagles in the sky that are hunting them, but so they've been known to just kind of walk up to people. There's actually videos out there of them walking up and like climbing on people's heads, which is odd because generally when you find a wild animal, they're going to be kind of skittish and they're not really going to hang out with you, or they're going to try to kill you. The Kakapo does neither of those. It just kind of hangs out, wants to investigate. Would be a good way to put it. They also apparently, I'm not saying go out and buy one because you probably can't keep it alive, but they apparently make very good pets because they are so friendly. It's been noted, the guy who first discovered Kakapos noted saying that he actually found out that the Kakapo acts more like a dog than a bird would, well, no birds act like dogs, but when you have a pet bird, they're kind of just sitting in the corner, they're annoying and they screech and they just eat food and they poop and they smell. But I found out that the Kakapo actually will act like a dog. It'll like go around, it'll like hang out with you, and which is a little weird to have a dog that looks like a bird, but you know. The next one I found, number 8, would be, I've mentioned this a few times, they are actually very critically endangered. There was only slightly over 100 of them left in the world in like 2012. Like I said, they live in these New Zealand jungles, and they were fine there until all these people started moving there and introducing these new predators that could easily find them and kill them. So recent efforts, actually, they took all the Kakapo off of the island they lived on and moved them to a different island where they have none of those cats, dogs, mammalian predators. They probably still have the birds, but they know how to deal with that. So their numbers are growing a lot, and there's actually, if you look at the graphs and the statistics of it, the number of Kakapos was dropping very fast, and then as soon as New Zealand put in like cat control laws, or at least the area around where they live put in cat control laws, it didn't start going up, but it started like flatlining, and then it started going up once they started taking them off the island. Which, you know, is good. They might come back, but let's just try not to kill them all. The last one I have written down is they're actually, like I said, they're the size of a cat. They can actually be like 2 feet tall, which is pretty considerable for a bird, I would think, because most birds I've ever seen, at least pet birds, are pretty small. And having one the size of my dog would be a little alarming and a little hard to get used to, I would say. The sources that say they live up to like 90, 95 years usually say they live around like 58 years or 60 years, which is a considerable amount of time to have a pet, because most pets don't live that long. In fact, I couldn't think of, aside from like a pet rock, I don't really think any other legal pet you could have would ever live even close to that long, unless they have like a pet human or something. That would be a little weird though, and probably illegal. But that's all I have. That's all I have for this one, because like I said, there was not a ton out there. There are facts out there that I didn't put down, but they were just kind of boring ones, like, ooh, they're green, ooh, they have feet, ooh, they have beaks, like these normal things that if you looked at the picture, everybody knows. But that's all I have for the Kakapo. So, you know, just like, comment, subscribe, stay tuned. This is gonna be, I assume you could figure it out by now, but probably like this is gonna be every Tuesday, 10 a.m. ish. Is gonna be one of these episodes. I'm working on something else too, but so just stay tuned for more, and stay toasty.